You know, I'm all into the tubeless world. Are you interested in going tubeless? What's up? What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of CycleTalk. I'm your host, Mr. Robb Armstrong, and my co-host,
Mr. Robbins.
Dad.
That's it.
So who am I? I'm the guy that did a century ride.
All right.
So normally on CycleTalk, I usually talk about a couple different type of topics, right? Today we're not talking about a couple different topics. We are talking about one thing. We are talking about the Elves endurance bike. That has been a hot topic of discussion, and we got some first-hand experience with this bike. Tell me about it.
Great bike. It's my go-to bike. I've got a few bikes. I've got a Trek, the Monte SL7. I've got a Fuji 2.5 LE, good bike, and a Trek. Another Fuji. I've got a TT bike. It is a Norcom straight, and it's a fast bike. But my go-to bike is the Elves.
It's the Elves.
Yeah.
I say that's a pretty big array of bikes, you know, going from a straight TT bike, the Norcom, having a true aero bike, the Fuji Transonic, having a endurance bike, the Trek Damani, but then out of all that, having another endurance bike, but that is like the king of all bikes, your preference of bike.
It is.
So going into this Elves journey, we kind of went into it at the same time, and we were both looking at bikes. I really wanted an aero bike, and you wanted a endurance bike. I ended up going with the Elves Eglath Pro rim brake, and I'm not even sure how to pronounce your bike's name. How do we pronounce it? I'm gonna throw up on the screen.
I think it's Eglath.
Eglath, all right,
Eglath.
their endurance bike.
Mhm.
And how long do you think you've had this bike?
I've had it probably going on a year.
A year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump on Strava real quick.
I think I got a few miles on it. This bike is, I think when I first got it, I was a little skeptical about it. We put them together. We just brought the frames and we pieced them together, kind of looked at what we wanted to do with it. And it's been a smooth bike. It's been a really smooth bike. It's been an all-around bike. San Antonio, we've got plenty of hills. I live in a hill country. So climbing, not a problem. Getting out on the flat road, not a problem. And it's just, what's that word they like to use? Compliant.
Compliant.
Whatever that means, right? I know that when I'm riding, it's just everything you need. If I needed to take off, it's gonna take off. If I go into a corner, it's gonna go in the corner. I feel control. I come out of the control. How does that rate with the Trek? Trek is good. It goes where you want. It's fast, but not as, I don't think it's as fluid.
Okay.
You know, in terms of how it responds, I would say the Gallop is like a +2.
Okay.
Okay.
A +2 on a scale of.
On a scale of 1 to 10,
Okay.
or 1 to 5. Let's go 1 to 5.
1 to 5. Okay.
1 to 5. So you see, let's say, 3 being the baseline. And that Elves is just there.
Okay.
Yeah. So the setup on it, I've got a 4838 crank, and on the back end, I've got a 1032.
Okay. So you got good range on there. And so when we talk about the scale, you said on a 5 scale, 3 being the middle, on a scale of 1 to 5, like overall, like where would you rate the bike?
I give it a 5.
You give it a 5.
Yes.
Okay. And out of a year of ownership, and this give y'all some context of this, right? Dad has 4 bikes right now. And of the different bikes, the Elves Eglath Pro, he has 961 miles on it. The Fuji Norcom, his TT bike, he has 2,569 miles on it. The true aero bike, his Fuji Transonic, he has 1,900 miles on it. And then his Trek Damani, he has 1,300 miles on it. So collectively, out of all this, I mean, that's about probably like 5,000 miles, maybe 6,000. The Elves is that #1 bike. So just to let you know how much time he has had in the saddle with it. And then also, we just did a century ride on Saturday. What was it like riding a century with the Elves?
It gave me confidence.
Okay.
Yeah, it gave confidence that I was going to be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
fast,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're going to worry about a whole lot.
Okay.
Getting uncomfortable with the bike. Flat surface. I think it was what 243 elevation total was
Yeah.
like
Total's about 600 over the 100 miles. So just like a little bit of climbing, but I guess mostly being comfortable riding something for the
right,
duration of that 100 miles.
right, right, right. So and we there were a few headwinds and just the ride itself. I just felt like I'm just gliding.
Okay.
Yeah, just gliding.
So when we talk about getting this bike and having ownership of it,
Hmm.
right? We went into this journey at the same time, like we were saying, right? What was it like going into building a bike, never have built a bike before, and actually building your bike? Because I think a lot of people have questions for that. I know a lot of people hit me up on the channel and they say, hey, I want to get this bike, but I'm kind of worried about building it. And I would think if you have any basic mechanical skills, I don't think it would be that difficult, but you've never built a bike before, and we're going to stay on that 1 to 5 rating, 1 to 5 rating scheme. On a scale of 1 to 5, how hard was it for you to build your bike?
I think in the beginning, in my mind, it was a 5.
As hard?
Right.
Okay.
But once I got started, I think it was a 3.
Okay, 3.
Because I think every little step you got a little bit more confident.
Okay.
You build it. But this part is, hey, it's not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you and I talked about, I was just going to take the whole bike, all the pieces, and take it to the shop and let them build it.
Yeah.
And we said, you know what, I could probably do this.
I was thinking that you could build it yourself. That was my
Right,
thought.
right. So after getting all the parts together and, ordering a couple tools, the right tools
Mm-hmm.
to get it going, I think it became pretty easy. I would say easy, doable.
Doable.
So
So putting the bike together, what was the hardest thing? What was the hardest part? Like bleeding the brakes, putting the bottom bracket in. What do you think the hardest thing was?
bleeding the brakes.
Bleeding the brakes.
Absolutely.
Okay. And you were running what group set you running on there again?
I run a SRAM
The SRAM.
12,
SRAM
12 speed.
12 speed. Is
Right.
it? Do you know which one it is? I think you got the Force. Is SRAM Force?
I have the force.
Okay.
Hmm.
And when you were bleeding the brakes, what kind of complications were you having?
I think a lot of the videos that I was watching,
Mm-hmm.
someone did this, someone did that, and then you've always in the back of your mind thinking, these are the brakes.
Yeah, I need those.
I don't need to be making any mistakes.
Uh-huh.
So I think that kind of ratcheted up a little bit.
Yeah.
Make sure this is right, get that right. Look at it. Let's say when you're cutting, measure twice. You bleed
Measure
the brakes
twice.
3 times.
Measure 3 times, cut once.
Yeah. So yeah, once I got that done, that was it. It was time for a road test, and then we got the road test,
Mm-hmm.
and it just felt immediately it felt good.
Okay. Jumping back to measure 3 times, cut once, right?
Yeah.
Regarding cutting, did you have to cut anything? Because I know you got a little bit of stack on your steer tube. Did you cut your steer tube or like the seat post? Because when I put my bike together, my seat post did not want to seat in the frame, and I did have to cut. I think I ended up cutting like maybe 3/4 inch off of it. Not much, but just enough so I can get it the height that I wanted. Did you have to do anything with
I
yours?
didn't actually. I kept the full length of it.
Okay.
I put these spacers in there, and I've got a little cap on the top. Doesn't look, aesthetically bad. I'll probably show you a picture of it.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't cut it at all.
Okay.
Matter of fact, that was one of the things that was in my mind. That was on my list. To get it cut because I didn't have a tool to cut it. I knew that I would probably take it to the shop, let them cut it or, buy the tool to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't do that. And yeah, so
Putting the bottom bracket in because you did it yourself. You went on brought a bottom bracket tool set. As far as fitment, did you have an issue with that, or did the bottom bracket just go right in?
it went right in.
Okay.
That was one of the videos, you kind of, you're watching those videos like, okay, there's a certain spot, bag that up, watch that again.
Mm-hmm.
And it just went perfect.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
And I've always been kind of worried about that because all the bikes that I build, most of the time I'm building a BB86. I like the wheels manufacturer threaded one because it kind of threads together. I never really had to deal with the press fit stuff. And then I have another bike that has a threaded T47. So when it went with the L's, yours specifically, I know we was talking about, you was talking about the press fit. I kind of didn't have much advice for you because I never really had to deal with the press fit. But it sounds like it was pretty straightforward and pretty simple.
Pretty straightforward. I think the hardest thing was just, kind of putting those little pieces together like a Tetris.
Mm-hmm.
Stack this one to fit that one, and then pretty much ratchet it up, and that was
That was
done.
it.
That was it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the only concern was, the free spin. How did it spin? Because I think I called you and said, hey, you know what? How does yours spin? And it was good.
Did you use the bottom bracket that came with your bike? Because Elves comes with a bottom bracket.
I did not. Matter of fact, I asked you to order me.
Okay, I think I
Yep.
ordered you a wheels manufacturer one as well, but no, I didn't order you a wheels manufacturer because you're running the SRAM.
Right.
Because usually when I do the wheels manufacturer, I'm usually running a Shimano spindle, which is the 24, but you running the SRAM, you get the dub spindle, which is 29. So I forget which one we ended up ordering. I don't even remember.
You know what? I'll take a look and
We'll
show you.
throw it on the
Throw it
screen.
on the screen.
Okay, that's good. So as far as cable routing, that's another question people ask me all the time. Like when I'm putting my bikes together, I think every bike that I've built, I pretty much run electronic, and that's just my personal preference. And I know with Di2, the first time I installed Di2, I was nervous about it. Like, am I going to get the wiring diagram correct? Am I going to plug something up wrong? But the thing I love about Di2, Di2 don't care. It's super smart. You just got to plug it up.
And it
As
works.
long as it all plugs up, it's correct, right? And then routing those cables and putting the battery in the bike. Sometimes people say, where you put the battery? I said, man, put it in the seat post. And I always get kind of crazy questions because some people have these aero bikes with these thin seat posts, and they're like, "Will it fit in there?" I said, "Trust me, that battery's thin. It's going to fit in there." But you running SRAM,
Right.
you didn't have to worry about that battery pack. But running the hydraulic hoses through the one-piece bar and stem, through the frame, connecting it all up, how hard was that? Like on that 1 to 5?
Well, 5 being the easiest,
5 being the hardest, I
the
think you said.
hardest. I would put it at a 3.
3, so like mid-level.
Yeah, because the bike actually came with some guide wires, if you will.
Oh.
So it was able to pull those through, pull those up, and I think the hardest part was probably cutting, re-terminating. So that part was probably the hardest one, and I wouldn't even say that was hard. I mean, after you watch the videos a few times, you know, there's only so much you can mess up.
Yeah, for real.
Right.
So you said so it's about midway putting it in, and you said the bike had the guide wires ran through the frame.
Yes.
If the bike didn't have those wires or those guides, do you think that would increase the difficulty?
Time.
Time, okay.
Yeah, I think time, because then it's all about preparation. What are you going to do to provide a mechanism for you to pull it through?
Yes.
Are you going to use something a little bit more rigid, to guide through and then pull it back through? Like I did with my TT bike.
Yes.
Yeah, so I actually use
Fishing wire.
fishing wire. Yeah, so I used something a little more rigid, got it through, got it to the end, grab it, pull it through. So
And that's interesting because, like, from my experience building bikes, running Di2 wires, sometimes it can be cumbersome because they're very pliable and they're flimsy. They don't have a lot of strength to them. But whenever I'm running hydraulic hoses, I usually never have an issue with hydraulic hoses. You could pretty much just fish those through. And another thing that kind of worked for me, I never use a fishing line, but I always have a full cable brake line. And what I will do is I will tape my Di2 hose to that metal line, and it usually helps me go through there. And
right.
like, I probably built like, I don't know how many bikes I'd have built. I don't know why I haven't just got the official like park tool feed the
know, right?
cable through set, because it'd probably be money well spent. But my little brake line's been working for me, so I don't know, I just keep
It
using my
works.
brake line. So wheels, right? What wheels are you running, and did you have a preference on why you chose those wheels?
Okay, so I went with the Bontrager Elves Pro 3s. And we kind of talked about different wheels, and I respect Bontrager.
And I think because you had your Demani, you had a Demani first, and
Correct.
your Demani had the Pro 3s on there.
Yes.
And you was like, okay, I kind of like these. Maybe I
Right.
should get another set.
Right.
I remember that conversation.
Right. So
Okay.
we found a really good deal,
Mm-hmm.
and on eBay, and we got those, and that came in, and then we went with the actual wheels themselves, the tires. And I actually started off with the Victoria Corsas Graphing 2.0.
2.0.
And they were really good.
Yes.
They're really good. I mean, I love those. But then I found the Control.
Yes. And I'm very interested in that because For those of y'all that's keeping up with the tires, I've been running the Graphing 2.0s for forever, and then I recently upgraded to the tubeless Victoria Corsa Pro. And the Victoria Corsa Pro, the tubeless edition, they make two. They make the Pro and they make the Pro Control. Now the Control is not a new tire. It just has a different tread, but this is the first time I think they're making it tubeless with the tan wall. That was the biggest thing, is having the tan wall. But you have found the controls way before, and you were saying the regular courses versus the controls, night and day.
+2.
+2.
Plus
Wow.
two. Yeah, you ride the controls, and it's when I first looked at it, it's a semi directional tire.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the outer edges of it, it has that herringbone.
Yeah.
So, and it goes both directions. So, running that, you really feel in control.
Wow.
I mean, you feel stable, you're riding, it's smooth.
Mm-hmm.
You got that going on, but then that stability,
Yes.
you see a few rocks, you making that slight adjustment,
Mm-hmm.
and you just moving it,
Wow.
you know.
And I'm very
Yeah.
interested in the control because I rode your Elves and it feels great, but I haven't had enough saddle time to really get a great feel and understanding for the controls. And when I went to the Corsa Pros, I was going to get the Pro controls, but they didn't have them in the size that I wanted, because I've been running like 30s for like crazy. That's been what I've been pretty much like infatuated with. It's just been wrapped around my head, these wide tires. And for your bike, I think you're running 28s on everything.
28s and everything, and I had that 30.
You had a 30.
I had a
Somehow
Mitch
you had
Matt.
a 30.
Somehow I had a Mitch Matt 30. But I tell you, I mean, when I got the control,
Uh-huh.
I liked it so much. You know what I did?
Yeah.
I put it on. I put it on
You
everything.
put on everything.
I'm like, if it feels this good on my L's, how good would it feel on my TT bike?
Ooh, yeah.
And it feels good.
Man.
It
And
feels
it's
good.
like, I would be interested to see like another setup with it, because initially I was running the regular butyl inner tubes,
Okay.
right? And then I found those Connie Race Light 28s, and I think that's what you're running. And then I got into the latex. Man, the latex tube is like a whole nother ball game. And I would be interested to see, like, if you was running latex tubes, how much more of a difference would that be? Because I think that's a game changer. I think two things I don't like about the latex tubes. One, you really got to check your air pressure, but that's kind of like a love-hate thing. I check my air pressure before I ride anyway,
Anyway, yeah.
but you really got to stay on top of it because it will lose air. And then usually, I would say, depending on the depth of your rim, the valve stems are never long. I think the longest they make is probably like a 48 or something like that. And you could get a valve extender, but knowing that you are running 30 deeps on your L's, I think latex would be a good fit because you don't have to worry about that valve extender. And it's probably give you like, man, like a plush ride. Because I would say if we go on a 5 scale, when I talk about latex tube, I think latex tubes will give you one tire size up.
Wow.
So if you run a 23
Mm-hmm.
and you put a latex tube, it'll feel like a 25.
That's huge.
If you run a 25, you put a latex tube, it'll feel like a 28.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. And at first, I didn't think it was that much of a difference. And after I was running them for a while, I was kind of getting tired of the air pressure thing. And I was like, I'm going to go back to my Race Light 28. The first day I rode it, I think I rode like 15 miles. I said, nah, this ain't it. I had to go back. I had to go back to the latex. But the latex is that much, I think it's that much better. If you're running a tube latex. I know some people are getting into these I think they're called like TPU or TPC tubes, like the Tubelitos. Victoria makes them, Pirelli makes them, but I've ran those tubes. It ain't
Not
it. It ain't latex. It ain't latex.
Okay.
Latex is the tube. If you run in tube, latex.
I got to try it.
Yeah.
I got to try it. I mean, because right now I'm feeling really comfortable, and you want to be comfortable on the bike,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't want to X out those massive
Marginal gains.
gains.
And I'll tell you that might be one. You
Yeah.
know, I'm really interested in that, seeing what the latex would be about. I'm trying to think what else.
I think probably the thing that helped sell me on it
Mm-hmm.
was the custom paint.
Yeah.
The custom paint was just it's a no-brainer.
Nothing looks like your bike.
Nothing looks like my bike. I mean, you can order it like that, but
Nothing looks like your bike.
when people see it, is
Yeah, it's a beautiful
what
bike.
is it? What is that? So
I would say the same. Like I said, I didn't have the best experience with my Elves Eglath. I think I ended up with maybe like 61 miles on it when I parted it out and sold it. But the bike looked beautiful.
Oh, beautiful bike.
And I would tell folks for a carbon bike with a one-piece bar and stem, custom paint, you cannot beat the price. It's like it's not even close. And then it not even the custom paint, right? Because when I was going over like my frame, my Trek is a two-tone, and I got a Bianchi, and I've seen a bunch of other bikes. The Elves paintwork it's on point. It's not something that looked like it was painted in somebody's garage. The paint lines are smooth. It's consistent. If it has a metallic or a pearl or a flake, man, it's in there and it shines. Because when people used to see my bike, it's like, man, that is a great looking bike. So
Yeah.
I agree. That custom paint.
The custom paint is amazing. And to be, full disclosure,
Hmm.
the only thing I had to do to that bike when I got it, the seat post, remember that?
The seat post. What was happening with the seat post?
Seat post was a little tight.
Okay.
So I ended up sanding down
Mhm.
just a little bit, and yeah, it popped right in.
So do you think when I inspected my bike, I did a thorough deep dive and I was looking like not like where the seat goes into the frame. Do you think like the inside of the frame wasn't clean, or you think it was just the seat post that needed to be reworked? Because I know you sanded the seat post, but could you have maybe sanded the inside of the frame, or you think it was just the seat post?
I think I could have done that.
Okay.
But I think the easiest thing for me at that point, you think about it and you calculate what's going to be the easiest. We're like water, right?
Yeah.
Least
Least resistant.
least resistance. So I figured, what, sand a little bit, see where I'm at. I mean, if that works, I mean, why am I going to go down in this rabbit hole when I can just put this on the mice and sand it down and get it to work, and it worked. It went right in there.
So another thing that I liked about the L's, on the back of the seat post, it has the lines on it, so you can clearly see the adjustments that you're making. But then also it has like it has its own texture on the back to
Yes.
give it grip. It's like a painted on fiber grip or fiber paste, because I've had a bunch of other bikes and I've seen a bunch of other bikes and there's no type of grip mechanism on the seat post.
True.
And also it's like an arrow shape, so it's kind of like a tri-side. When you did the sanding, you didn't sand the textured part, did you? Or was it like, how much did you sand? Did you sand the whole thing all the way around?
I did all the way around.
Okay.
So trying to be proportioned,
Mhm.
little on the side and a little one on the front side, not the back side where it had the marginal lines.
Okay, that was my question. The
Right.
texture part, you didn't
Right.
sand that.
Right. I did.
You did.
I did.
Okay.
Hmm.
When you did the sanding, did you use a certain, like a grit? Like, did you have like some 60 grit, or you had like a scuff?
I couldn't tell you the number of the grid, but it was real fine.
Real fine.
Real fine. So, it was just taking off a little bit, and like I must have did it maybe, I don't know, maybe 20 times. Because you don't want to go too far.
Yeah, just light
Yeah,
stuff.
light, see it. And it's light, until we got to a point where, okay, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, didn't go too far.
Putting your seat on the seat post in the seat post mechanism, what'd you think about the clamp system?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
It reminded me of a TT bike.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
I do like how it came with the 7x7 for round seat posts, and it came with the 7x9, because I played with a bunch of different saddles on mine, and I had carbon rails and regular rails, but the seat post clamp system is on point. It reminded me of a TT bike. You can kind of slide it back and forth, and it's easy to make minor adjustments on it. I thought they did that well.
They did a great job. Would I buy it again? Absolutely. I'm still thinking about that Evo.
That's an interesting topic right there, because I told myself I was going to check out your bike. I was going to ride your bike. And, we talk on the phone all the time. You tell me, like, this bike is the truth. And I'm like, if it's really that good, I might get one. And I will say, the bike feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good. Like, before we did the Century ride and we were in Houston and you showed up, as soon as the bike came out, I was like, man, it's a good looking bike. Let me ride this bike, and I just got on the bike and I rode around the park. I was like, man, Bike feels good because I think you can get a lot as far as ride feel. It is an endurance bike. Well, I will say this: when you get on the bike, what are you looking for in a bike? You know, and you hear the bike term. We kind of made fun of it. The compliance, like
Compliance.
what is it? If you look up the term compliance, yes, it has a definition and it does make sense when you're talking about a bike. But to me, it gives me no context, or there's no way to validate what compliance really means. Like in my opinion, I think is we should be doing a better service of giving a better explanation of what does compliancy mean when you're on the bike. Just getting on the bike saying it's compliant, it's stiff. I mean, that doesn't mean anything to me. I have nothing to compare that to.
There's field and real, right?
Mm-hmm.
So example. So I think I called you one day. I was at the bike shop, and the guy had I think it was a Amanda.
Imanda.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was working on my bike. I said, hey, but let me ride that bike. And I got on. I was like, wow. Yeah. You got on it. It felt stable. I kind of turned a little bit, and it just felt like it just went into the turn like we were just one piece. I was a one piece with the bike. I'm like,
One with the bike.
this feels good, right?
Yeah.
Leaned a little way up, felt good.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's how my elves feels.
Wow.
That's how the elves feel.
Wow.
So that told me right then, you know what? For the price that I paid for the elves and the cost of that Trek,
Yeah.
that,
Totally different. Because your Trek, I mean, it's the top of the line. You know, it's SLR, top carbon, and it's a Project One. I mean, you could have bought 3 L's.
could have bought 3.
For that.
Could have bought the Evo too.
Could have bought the Evo too. Yeah, that's crazy. Man, when you are riding a bike, because you live in the hill country, right? So I know you said it climbs well, but when you are out the saddle, putting power down, climbing or sprinting, how does the bike respond?
Responsive. Responsive. I'm telling you, it's my go-to bike.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm riding with the group, not taking the Trek.
Wow.
Not taking the Trek.
Wow.
Not taking the Trek. I'm taking the L's. Now, if we're just going somewhere and just go fast, I'm taking the Transonic. I mean, it's like 16 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Man. And speaking of bike weight, I think we weighed your bike. And the only thing, no, it had pedals. I want to say your bike weighed in at
17.9.
It was 17.9. And your bike is a size XL.
Right.
So XL, Force, SRAM Force, electronic Groupset, Bontrager, Elves Pro 3s, 30 deep, 17.9.
17.9.
Man, that's good weight.
It's good weight.
That's a good weight because my Trek is a 52,
Mm-hmm.
and my Trek is heavy. It weighs almost 19 pounds. I want to say it's like 18.7 or 18.8, something like that. But the L's, man,
it's good.
That's pretty light. Man, that's light. I'm trying to think. Is there anything on the L's that you would want to replace, upgrade, or try out to like maybe take it to the next level? Or are you completely content, satisfied with the bike?
I would probably like to upgrade the wheels just to see. Just to see. We looked at some wheels yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
The
You were looking at the Roval CLXs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's badass wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to ride those just to see,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of massive margin.
Massive marginal gains. Man, I would say also, I'm all into the tubeless world. Are you interested in going tubeless?
I think I have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I deny myself the opportunity to try something that's going to improve my ride?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think especially knowing that you like the Corsa controls and the new Victoria Corsa Pros, they make them in the control. I think turning that up to tubeless, I don't know, tubeless has just been everything for me with my internal width being 23 and I've been riding 30s and I've been riding the GP 5000 STRs in 30s and the Victoria Corsa Pros in 30s. And I'm going to do a video doing a comparison on both of them tires. So I'm here to tell you, the GP 5000, they stepped it up. But anyway, you got to go. I'll say you got to go tubeless. You got to go. You got to try it. It's the truth.
Yeah, well, I think, Father's Day is coming up. I think coming up in a couple days. I guess I am going to go tubeless and try it out.
Let me get on Amazon real quick and order some tires. Man, so I think we covered just about everything. We talked about like bike feel, building a bike, owning a bike, riding a bike. Any upgrades? Is there anything you want to upgrade with the bike, or are you content with it?
I mean, other than the tubeless, and perhaps, maybe it's some the upgraded wheels.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
pretty happy with it.
Man,
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
man. So if someone was on the fence about buying the Elves Eglath Pro Disc endurance bike, what would you tell them?
Do it. Do it. For the price, you can't beat it. You're gonna get a good bike, not a good bike. You're gonna get a great bike. I mean, when I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about the Trek. My go-to bike is the Elves.
Man,
Yeah, it's the Elves, and I've ridden a lot of bikes.
if you were looking to get one of these L's, I'm telling you, the Elves of Gallup endurance bike may be the bike for you. If you are liking the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I appreciate the likes, I appreciate the comments, I appreciate everything. This is another episode of Cycle Talk, and we are out.
Yeah.
Done.